Hey, it was good, yo. Shit, some EPO trade. Basically, I'm going to be explaining my strategy. How do I do this? Like, let's do this. Let me start with this. Me- All right, that's a crazy prediction, bro. Wait, am I tripping? Is that not OTV? Yeah. Basically, let's start from step one. All right. What indicators do I use? Right. I use the EMA. Holy fuck, this camera blurry as shit. Oh. That did not help the camera at all. Okay. Anyway, let's stay focused. So we have this MACD right here, right? This MACD helps me determine my bias. Like if we get close to the MACD like this and we're above it, this means that we should get longs, right? Matter of fact, nah. All right. So EMA is used to determine if we are bullish or bearish, right? Can I just, yeah, never mind. The EMA is used to determine if we are bullish or bearish. Like this right here, we've been bullish since, damn. Yeah, we've been bullish for a long time, but once we're above this line right here, that means I should be looking for longs. But the only way I look for longs if we're close to the, what's it called? We're close to the EMA. Like that would be a good long, and this would be a good long area. This would be a good long area. Like if we start tapping it, this would also be a good long area right here. This would also be a good long area. This was a good long area. But so basically, whenever we tap the EMA or we get close to tapping it and we have other confluences aligned, that means that it's a good area for us to target longs from. But the flip side is shorts, right? Once we're below this EMA, we want to be looking for shorts, right? Like this would have been good entry for shorts right here. This would have been a good entry. This would have been a good entry. This was a good entry. This was a good entry. All right. But here we broke out. So we can't always rely on the EMA to help. We can't always rely on the EMA to like decide if you want to short exactly like that, but we have to use other confluences, right? The other thing I use is this, the MACD. The MACD is a way for me to see if we have buyers or sellers. Like in today's trade, right here, the reason I was so sketched out about this move up right here is because there was no red candles, right? That means there's no sellers present. But once we started chopping around, as you can see, we're able to form those strong sellers. Feel me? We're able to be shown that sellers want to sell at this price right here, right? And then like also the MACD is basically used for like confirmation whenever you want to enter. Whenever I want to enter a trade to the upside or the downside, if we start trending downwards, that means okay, shorts are the play right here. But if we start trending upwards with the MACD, that means maybe I should look for longs, right? The MACD isn't perfect, but it helps get a sense of like which direction we're going to go, right? Then another thing I use is I mean yeah, this, but let me show a long example. Um, All right, this is a good example right here. Yeah, I actually got pretty good drawing the flips. Right, as you can see right here, if we wanted to trade, right, and we came into our -4 to -4.5 is like a resist. Actually, before actually, yeah, I'm gonna explain the flip in a second. But this is the area I look for longs from, right? But on the MACD, you can see that we're clearly below the EMA and below on the MACD, which would mean that we're super bearish, right? But that's not always the case, because once we sell for a certain amount, we need to retrace upwards, take out highs, take out, you feel me? We gotta start taking out highs in order for us to continue back downwards. We can't just go down for forever, right? We need to have pullbacks and shit. So right here, the MACD, I was looking for longs. I think I did take this trade maybe, but if I was looking for longs, we could have seen right here that, okay, there's buyers present. Okay, there's buyers present. We failed to get up right here. We came back down, then buyers became present immediately. MACD is not an entry trigger because you will be late. You will be late like every time if you try to rely on the MACD to find your entries. That's why you have to use other confluences. And then another part of my strategy I use is the volume profile, right? The volume profile is very good at catching. So you know what? Let me draw. The way I draw my volume profile is from, okay, for New York session, we draw it from 9:30, because that's New York open, all the way till 4 p.m. Right? This is our, what's it called? This is our volume profile for New York, right? We have the Varia low, Varia high, fuck, this is the point of control, and this is the Varia high, right? These are levels that we're looking for to trade off of, right? You can see here, we had a strong move up, came back, we tapped this Varia low, then we expanded higher. We hit this point of control, and we immediately rejected, right? We came back, used the EMA as a support, and then started to continue higher. So the Varia low is like an area of interest if you want to long, if you want to keep longing, and the Varia high is an area of interest if you want to keep shorting. What I would say, right? So another thing is yes, they can help you if you want to like look for levels to maybe reverse off of or continue trading, but you have to think about the trend that we're in at the time. If we're if we're selling off, then we pull back to a level, you don't want to long, right? You want to short back down if we're showing strong bearish pressure. And if we're shorting, right? Oh, wait, hold no. Fuck, I got myself confused. All right, so let me redo that. If we're in a short, actually, let me find a good example of that. This is a good example. Let's go 6 p.m. 6 p.m. all the way till 6 p.m. all the way till 9:30. Then okay, let's get rid of this. Let's put this as very high so we're able to remember. Okay, you can see here after we draw the volume profile for this would be our Asia session volume profile, right? We draw it from 6 p.m. all the way to 9:30 a.m. All right, and then you can see here we were dumping, right? And then we came back, pulled back, and then used this area right here as resistance because we had two confluences. I mean, we didn't really have two confluences because this is actually, yeah, no, we didn't have two confluences because this is actually the current session volume profile. I'm tripping. Let's see actually what this Right, yes, it was two conflicts actually. Okay, I'm not sure. All right. So we have the very low right here, and we have the night very low. So you can see right here, we're clearly bearish, right? We've been distributing from after taking out what's fuck. After taking out these highs right here during New York Open, we've been distributing downwards, right? And then here, we're looking for a pullback. We pulled back and then we used the night very low and the previous New York sessions very low as as resistance, right? We use this as a resistance to continue lower. This would have been a perfect short level, right? To continue downwards until we hit, we draw this leg right here, until we either hit this -2 to 2.5 or until we hit the -4. All right, that's actually crazy. It's -4, perfect. But yeah, we could target it at the midpoint at -2 to 2.5, right? Because this is where we want to look for reversals from. But that's how I use volume profiles. The only volume profiles I keep active are the previous New York sessions and the previous Asia session. There should only be two volume profile. There should only be 6 lines at all times, right? You should have the previous New York sessions. If you're trading Asia session of like today, my level should have been like right. These are my levels. 1, 2, 3. But we're not even close to here, right? But that should have been my levels, and I should have also had 9:30 a.m. right there. I mean, it should be 6 p.m., but you get what I'm saying. Let's only have these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines in the previous week's volume profile. But yeah. Now let me explain the fib. So the fib is what I use as resistance area, right? So let me actually draw the fib. This is my fib right here. All right, let me explain what this is. The -4 to 4.5 right here, this is an area where we could reject from, right? That's what that is. The -2 to 2.5, this is an area we could reject from off of, right? This is terrible. Let's redo that one. This is also an area we could reject off of, right? Then these is all manipulation. This is all manipulation right here. So whatever happens here doesn't really matter. Bro. We could get pullbacks, you know, from these levels, but these levels do not matter. So, keeping that into consideration, this right here is called OTE. Right? This is OTE. This is optimal trade entry. Right? This is where we want to be entering our positions. That was fucking terrible. Oh, hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Some girl texting me. My fault. You should join this session. Anyway, this is the optimal trade entry, right? This is where we want to be entering our positions for us to continue higher and deliver. So now that we have all that established, let me find us a trade. Okay. So let us use this leg as an example, right? So let's say we got on and we wanted to trade. I don't really encourage trading this open though. I don't really encourage that. It's an example though. All right, so let's say we got on, we wanted to see, okay, this is our manipulation leg. We believe this is a protected low right here, that this low is going to stay intact and nothing's going to run through it, right? So once we have that, this right here would be the best possible areas for us to enter. That's what OTE is, optimal trade entry. That's a 30-point stop, and then you can target this -2, right? And that would have been that would have been damn 236-point trade. But yeah, and then once we have this marked out, this is our manipulation leg, right? It's the fake move down before we head upwards, right? The manipulation leg is that leg that we make before we actually go in the right direction. Like for this would be our manipulation leg right here. Right, this is where we'll be looking for price to reverse. Right there. This is a zone where price could possibly reverse. So we'll be trying to look for longs right here. Right? And then right there. There's another manipulation legs. A possible area for price reverse is that -2. Bro, what fucking magnet at all. Alright? So these right here are areas for us to reverse off of. This, again, an area where we could also reverse from if we use this -2 as support. But again, let's make a fake trade, right? We draw a manipulation leg. We see, okay, we're respecting this OTE, right? Market opens. We dip into OTE. We go to the 0.786. We give buy. We could put buy right there, and then targeted whatever we needed. I traded 1 to 3, right? Risk 1K to make 3K, right? But again, it's however you trade. So another trade idea that we could have had is matter of fact, yes, this works. All right, that is our manipulation leg right there. All right, because we took out, did we take out this low? We did not actually. But that's our manipulation leg because that's the fake move down. All right, so with that being known, this is our area of resistance right here. Not resist fucking. Bro. Yeah, but that is our area of resistance right there, right? This is where we want to look for a short from. After you seen right here, we rejected heavily. So I would not take shorts. Once you see price starts to stall like this, just wait for a break of either a low or the high back into wherever your levels are at. Okay, since we have this area resistance marked out, once we get a break below and a retest up right here, this is our trade. Because this is resistance, right? And then we can also, for OTE, we draw it from that fake move down. I mean, it's not a fake move down, but that leg that moves us down. And this is our OTE where we want to enter trades. This OTE is the best possible area where we could enter trades. And our stops would be at that candle wick because we believe this is a protected high or protected low if you're shorting. And then the -2 would be an area of resistance again. Right? That's an area of resistance. The way I would draw fib for that actually would be like that. That's the fib I would draw. So I don't know if I would have caught this reversal actually. maybe. But yeah, that's basically how it works. Anything else? Anything else? We can go over some of my trades. All right, let's go with top trades. All right, here you can see where we are in the OTE right there, right? The perfect entry would have been that these three yellow, this yellow area, right? This would have been a perfect entry for us to continue higher because we're at that -2 to -2.5, right? Because that is resistance right there. That would have been the perfect area for us to continue higher to the -2 to 2.5 as we draw that fib out, and we have resistance right there. This is another trade. We again came back to OTE of that manipulation leg. I mean, we can also draw the leg from this, right? But right there, this is our best entry possible. Again, OTE, we came back, respected it, delivered higher. So, I mean, yeah. There any other way I can explain this? Matter of fact, let's go to, man, this works. All right, this, nah, not like that. I thought it's a turbo, it's gonna go for previous. All right, right here is a fake move up, right? Because clearly we disrespected it. So I put resistance, area resistance right here. You can resist out of. Right here, you can resist out of. Right here, we actually resisted out of. So our entry, we draw from there to there. And this golden area is a perfect place for us to enter. I don't really trade OTE with this big of a range because we might just come back into the zone. But again, this OTE is like the perfect place for us to enter. So let's say we enter at the 0.786, and this is our protected low right here. So this is our trade. We look for a break at this line. We use OTE, our best entry possible. This is our best entry possible because we're coming from an area of resistance where we rejected out of heavily, came back, then we got tagged into our entry right there. So this is the best area for us to enter. These three golden lines. The 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, because this is a discounted price. Right? This is a discount of the range. Not a premium, a discount of the range where buyers want to get into. So because of that, we look for this area where buyers would like to get a discount on whatever contracts or whatever they're buying, and then we look for a move outwards from there. But yeah, that's basically it. You just basically have to get comfortable with drawing the fib on manipulation legs. It took me a while to get to know how to draw it, but I mean, I was just on the chart every day trying to figure out, okay. I mean, what I recommend is you just basically go like this, go on a chart, go like that. I can have the magnet around. Then you see, okay, this is my -2 to 2.5. Did we reject out of there? Yes, we did. So I drew the fib right. Let me find the next manipulation leg, right? That's what I did for days and days and days until I had opportunity to finally be able to understand, okay, this is the leg I need to draw it on. All right, but since we have this right here, that's basically how I trade right there. Um, any questions, anything, leave them in the comments and I'll answer them. Actually, let me show you all my fib levels. So that's kind of fun. Just teaching you how to do that. These are my fib settings right here. But yeah, in the volume profile, these are my settings right there. But yeah, thank y'all for watching. If you have any questions, just let me know and I'll answer them. If I didn't explain anything clearly, put it in the comments and I'll answer the questions. But yeah.